In this video, I'm going to share with you the best way to validate your business idea and make sure that people actually need your solution before you waste months or years of your life building something that nobody wants. The video is heavily based on The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. If you're going to launch a startup, make sure to check out this book. In my previous videos, I already covered how to find ideas and how to evaluate them. Let's assume you've done your research and now you have one or several business ideas to test. How would you prove it without wasting a lot of time and effort? The first step is to construct a problem-solution hypothesis. To do this, you have to talk to potential customers. The most important rule here is don't introduce your idea or product, because doing this early may bias their answers. Your task is to listen. This step is to validate the problem. Don't pitch the product, don't explain the pain you're going to solve, and don't talk about your solution. Ask open-ended questions and follow up again and again until you get some real insights about the user experience and about the problem. The best approach is to do these customer interviews via video calls or in person. You need to bond a little to make them comfortable to answer the questions. And also make sure to take notes. There are great AI tools that can do it automatically, such as Fireflies. Don't ask questions such as, "Will you use our product?" Probably they say yes, and it means absolutely nothing. The only way to trust their answer is if they have actually paid you money to access your solution. Now, I have prepared a great cheat sheet which you could use to get ready for these customer interviews. It contains tips on who should you talk to, which questions to ask, how to follow up these questions, which questions to avoid, and how to analyze these interviews. I will attach the link to this file in the description. Also, I do recommend you watch this video from Y Combinator on how to talk to users. It is very well structured and definitely worth checking out. After 5 to 10 interviews, you can synthesize your learnings, create a problem-solution hypothesis, and start sketching a minimum viable product, or MVP, which in most cases shouldn't take longer than 6 weeks, and then you're ready to test it with the same users. Now, it is critical to remember that validation comes from measuring the behavior of your target audience, not gathering opinions. People can tell you that they will buy your product for 100%, but usually this will change once it is time to pay for it. You want to build an early version of your product, which could be even a prototype, not really a product, and include only the key feature. The two most common ways to do this are to build a concierge MVP or a smoke screen MVP. A concierge MVP involves manually providing a personalized experience to customers in order to test a process which would be automated by your product. A real-life example is Zappos, an online shoe and clothing retailer. Instead of trying to launch a shoe company by buying a warehouse and automating a system of delivery, Zappos founder started with a manual process that was quick and cheap to set up. He manually purchased shoes from other retailers and shipped them directly to customers. It was enough to test his assumption and validate the business idea. A smoke screen MVP is basically marketing without a finished product. It presents the appearance of a fully functional product just to attract the customer interest and gather the feedback, even though the core functionality might not be developed at all. The goal is to test the market before investing resources in building the real product. When Dropbox first started, they created a simple explainer video showcasing their file sharing and cloud storage service. This video served as their MVP. By sharing the video on community forums and collecting sign-ups, they were able to validate that there was demand for their product. This initial feedback gave them the confidence to invest and build the actual product. In these two examples, the MVP tests focused on measuring customer behavior rather than relying on opinions. The next step is to deploy this MVP to a small group of customers and collect data and metrics to evaluate how users are interacting with the product, which features they like, what improvements are needed. The primary metrics would be different depending on your product and business model, but for most companies it would be one of the three things: revenue, whether people are paying for your solution; usage, typically for advertising-based companies, so daily, weekly, monthly active users. And for enterprise companies, it could be LOIs, letters of intent, or signed contracts, for example. And the problem is that it's really hard to gather enough data with MVP to measure these key metrics. So the best approach is to come up with a set of secondary metrics. If you think of metrics as a pyramid, there is the most important metric at the top, and then you have 3 to 4 metrics below it that you believe greatly impact the top metric. Usually it's those metrics that you brainstorm features on. In the Dropbox example, it could be the number of views of that MVP video, or the number of signups, or the conversion rate from views to signups. And the last step of this methodology is deciding whether you have to pivot or persevere. Based on the insights gained from user feedback, you can now make informed decisions about whether to make significant changes to your product or target market, other words, pivot, or to continue with the current strategy. And this iterative process allows for continuous improvement and adaptation. To summarize, I will put it in very simple terms. So you found an idea. The first step is to talk to potential customers and create your problem-solution hypothesis. The second step is to build an MVP or prototype. The third step is to go back to those potential customers you had interviews with and see if they pay you money for your solution to their problem. If they do, great, you have some paying customers, it's called traction. Now you can take it and go to venture capital funds, fundraise, and start developing your real product. If they don't buy your solution, then your problem-solution hypothesis might need another iteration. So you gather the feedback, and based on this feedback, you pivot. Either change your solution, target a different audience, or both. That's it. I hope it was helpful. Remember, it's best when your solution is a painkiller, not a vitamin. It shouldn't be just nice to have, it should be a must-have. Keep that in mind while selecting a problem to solve. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.